Welcome into the Gridiron Grind, to Dallas Cowboys and NFL podcast number 4. What a disaster in the desert last Sunday was. It's Creta 3 and Jimmy G. I mean, we talked about it at length in our live post-game show. You got to get over there and check us out after every Dallas Cowboys game on our YouTube channel. Just a disaster. We're going to talk more about it today, Jimmy. Are you off that loss yet?
No. I mean, you got to move on, right? But I'm just
Yeah.
like, dude, we looked like crap. We did not execute well. We looked like a team that all week had been told we were better and how much better we were. We looked like a team that really took that to heart. And guys, it's okay. We can come out flat. Like Parsons had some urgency. Like, you saw him looking around, guys, we're not in the right position. Guys, we're out of place. What are you doing? Type stuff. And it just seemed to me everyone else was just kind of like, guys, it's going to be okay, man. Like, we're better than they are. We're going to turn it around. Like, and we didn't. And that's what happens. Like I said, this is the NFL. In college, it's easier to out athlete teams, but in the NFL, nobody's there by accident. So, yeah, pretty frustrating.
Very frustrating. Got to find a way to bounce back. And we'll kind of address this when we get to question of the week. But it's like, which team is this team? You worry. Are they the two teams that dominated two bad opponents? Or are they the team that got run over by a bad opponent?
Yeah.
Step up in level of competition this week, hosting the Patriots. Now, the Patriots, I don't even know if they make the playoffs, but they're better than the Jets. They're better than the Cardinals, probably better than the Giants. And Bill Belichick is a heck of a game planner, and he'll exploit some of our weaknesses. Run defense has got to be better. Zeke had a pretty good day last week. Now obviously he's playing for the Patriots. Run defense has got to be better. We got to cut down on the penalties. That's the two things just glaring that were so bad last week that we got to be better. And the third thing, red zone offense. I mean, our red zone offense has been atrocious. 11 trips the last 2 games, only 3 touchdowns. That's got to improve.
That's got to be figured out, man, because we can't. Golly, man, you may not even make the playoffs if you can't score in the red zone, much less you add on all this other stuff. Penalties, well, that'll kill you regardless how good you are in run defense. I mean, it's all kind of basic, like basketball. You show me a team that wins the rebounding game and the fouls, you usually show you the team that wins. Football, show me a team that commits the least amount of penalties, scores points in the red zone, can stop the run, I can generally show you the team that wins. And it's like, dude, if all 3 of these we're struggling on, like we're not going to be very good, Trey.
No. And that's what I've thought a lot about it this week. It's amazing because the first 2 weeks I was sitting there like, I think we're better than we've been in a long time. Like, I think we're legit. Like, I understand we're not playing anybody, but we're handling them with ease. And it's just, you don't see a lot of – I mean, I was thinking we might be the best team in the league. You don't see a lot of teams in that top tier go out and have games like that. You just don't. Like, the 49ers hadn't had a game like that. The Eagles hadn't had a game like that. The Chiefs, I mean, they might look out of sync, but they don't go and just get where they can't stop the run and they create all these penalties. It's just you don't see that from top tier teams. So it really came out of left field for me last week, and it's made me rethink the ceiling for this team. I thought they were a Super Bowl contender. I'm not sure. A lot of football to play. I mean, that's only game 3 of 17. There's 14 left. And it's all about playing your best football December and January anyway. But, man, I don't know what to think about this team.
Yeah, and it felt like air went out of the sails, like how everyone felt. I know how I felt. I think we were watching it together when Romo got hurt that last time.
Yep.
And just the wind left, right? Luckily the time before we had Dak. When he got hurt and you were just like, oh no, right? It feels like that's what the defense did when they lost Diggs. It's like now all of a sudden it's like we're giving up plays we don't usually give up. And I know Diggs is a big part of our defense, but Diggs doesn't come down and stop the run. Diggs, you know what I mean? I'm like, Deron Bland, okay, you got to you got to pick your stuff up, man. Like you're gonna have to fill. You got some big shoes to fill. But like we still got that same. I love our defensive line. We still have the same line we talked about, big up front. And that was one thing the Cardinals didn't do was run up the middle. We had
Right.
Hankins, Biggie Zua. They had that balled up, but they're able to get to the edges. And I'm sitting here going, we're supposed to have D-Law
Yeah.
filling that up, and then we're supposed to be able to run. Like I said, we have a depth on the D line I love, and so I just, yeah,
I
I don't
was
know.
that amazed me the most is our
Yeah.
inability to stop the run because we couldn't set the edge. Leighton Vander Esch had one of the worst games I've ever seen. I heard another local radio guy here saying the same thing this week. I mean, he was bad, and he was a lot of the problem. He didn't have gap integrity. He wasn't
Mhm.
setting the edge, wasn't strong at the point of attack. He was running himself out of plays, into blockers. He's got to be better. We got to get that cleaned up. We got to set that. I mean, that's the number one thing in football you learn playing defense and Pop Warner football is, hey, you got to anchor the edge, set the edge. Here's what the offense wants to do. They want to block you and get you out of the way so they can run around the corner. I mean, if you go watch every 7 and 8-year-old football game this weekend, that's what they do because it's the easiest way. They just get it like a sweep right, and the little kid, the fastest kid on the field, will just take the sweep and run around, go to the end zone. Daughter's a cheerleader. I see it every week. And that's why. So it's the first thing you are taught is how to tackle and how to set the edge in football. And just to see the Cowboys' lack of setting the edge last week was very alarming. And something's got to get fixed. I mean, they're professionals at the high level and a great defense. They can get it fixed. And I bet it will be fixed this week. But
Yeah, Dan Quinn's going to get them
yeah,
going to get them straightened up. I got faith in him and in our players. It just, boy, golly, what an egg! Laid an egg, man.
laying an egg. So I guess let's put the Cardinals to bed. That loss is over. Nothing we can do about it. 2-1 on the season. Got to bounce back at home. And maybe it was a road thing, which still isn't good. So hopefully they'll bounce back this week at home. Playing the Patriots, Mac Jones, the quarterback. Their offense doesn't look good. Zeke did have a good day last week, but they basically had to run the football with the weather. They played the Jets and struggled to
Almost
score.
let them come back and win.
Right.
Yeah.
Struggled to score against the Jets. Only had 15 points.
Man, my Jets not making the playoffs preseason bet's looking really good after
Yes, it
Rodgers got
is.
hurt.
Yes, it is. There's really nothing on the Patriots offense that scares me, unless we're just going to give up 220 yards rushing again on the ground. And that would be something if Zeke came in here and did that to us. The defense are going to be disciplined, so we're going to have to do all the right things. We've got to be better than red zone.
Judon, we're gonna have to block Judon.
Yeah, Judon will tear us up.
New England Patriots fans like to compare him to Parsons. I don't think they're
He's not
really
there.
comparable. I think Judon is a heck of a defensive player, but I think it's apples and oranges. I think not even being a homer, I think Parsons has got better intangibles. I think he's the better player. That being said, Judon's gonna have. I bet Judon comes out ready to play because he's going to try to show up and go, guys. I'm just as good or better.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a guy we're going to have a game plan around.
Zeke's return. What do you think the reception from the Cowboy faithful will be for Zeke? I think positive.
I think positive too. I think this will be, it's not like he left on bad terms.
Right.
It would be like if Parsons leaves next year, and maybe not even Parsons, but you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it was like, man, what are you doing? We want you back. We need you. And then he just bolted for more money type deal. No, I think I think it'll be positive. It should be anyway, in my opinion. It should be positive.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree. Just thinking about it, I mean, it's such a big game this week because if the Cowboys right the ship and they come out and they win and look good, or really even if they just win would be an improvement. But let's say they're back on track and they win and they play well and they win comfortably at home. I mean, everything's back on track. Like, hey, that was just a dud early in the season, no big deal. But if they lose this game, I mean, sound the alarms. We're 2-2 through the first 4 easiest games on our schedule. I mean, it's a time to panic, I would think. So in that regard, I hate saying must win, but in that regard, I mean, it is makes you feel a lot better about your football team if you come away with a win on Sunday, being 3-1 after last week's stinker.
Yeah, and we talk about teams. We talk about the Cowboys are one, the Longhorns, Alabama, Georgia. These teams that teams want to beat, and it means something, whether the team's good or not. We talk about the Cowboys being one. The Patriots are another one of those because they still have Bill Belichick, Hall of Fame coach, right? And he's arguably the greatest. I mean, he's the Nick Saban of the NFL, or Nick Saban's the Belichick college football, however you want to look at it. But that's another thing is like this is a big game. Even if we were 3-0, this is still a big game because the Patriots for so long have been kind of the measuring stick
Right.
in the NFL. And we know that regardless how they look, Belichick's still capable of putting together a game plan and making you look foolish and, going, yeah, I still got it. And so that's another thing is like, we're going to have a guy across the sidelines who, if Magic Mike's not careful, he's going to get out coached and it won't even be close. Like this could get
Yeah.
bad.
I mean, I go into it figuring, Belichick's got the coaching edge over the
Oh, easily.
Patriots,
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to make up for it. We got the better team, better athletes.
Mhm.
And I feel like our defense, if we stop the run again, I don't think Mac Jones is gonna light us up. And the offense, I think the offense can get to 20 this week. I think it'll be I think that's the number. Get to 20, and the Patriots should not be able to get to 20.
Right.
And they just should. So we'll see how it goes. Around the NFL last week, the big story, the Dolphins, holy cow, put up 70 last
Dude.
week on the Broncos. I mean, it was just constant barrage of scoring. Devin Achane, the rookie running back from Texas A&M, just went off, had 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 receiving.
Hmm.
And the Dolphins, honestly, if I got to pick AFC right now, the Dolphins might look like the best team.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, 70 points is
That's no joke.
golly, yeah, because you think when you're up so much, you just run the football trying to get out. And of course, they kept showing McDaniel when he was the Broncos ball boy.
Right.
And excuse me, talking about how he didn't get the interview and did that have something to do with it and blah, blah. I don't know, because they've been putting up not 70 points, but I mean, what he put up the week before, 400 something yards or
Yeah.
500 again. So, yeah, Dolphins offense, man, if they can keep Tua from getting concussed on TV like he did almost every game last year,
Right.
if they can keep Tua upright and keep getting guys like Waddle and A Chain and Tyreek Hill the football, the Dolphins are going to be pretty good.
Yeah,
Continue to be pretty good because they're already pretty good.
I think so too. They got a big one this week, hosting the Bills. Got to play in that game
Mhm.
for you. Actually, the Bills hosting Miami, so that's a pretty big game. London games start this week. The annual Jacksonville second home. Poor Jacksonville has to go there every year.
Yeah.
And they're better now too, and they're getting more. I mean, they're selling out all their home games, but NFL's still
Yeah.
making them go to London. So they host Atlanta. I think it's 8:30 Central Time. So I kind of like when you get NFL does that because it's kind of like college a little bit. You get to get up early, watch football. There's a
Mhm.
game on before church. You get home from church. There's noon games, Cowboys 3:25, then the evening game. All day of football. So questions of the week. Let's get to
I
them.
got you.
You send your questions in grindsports.com. Comment on the YouTube video. Hit us up YouTube channel. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, however you want to do it. Send in your questions. We'll get it on the show. Our college football podcast comes out on Wednesdays. This Cowboys NFL one on Thursday. So get your questions in, and we'll pick the best ones each week and put them on the show.
I got one this week, Trey. And this comes from a gentleman, Blake from Nakona via Twitter. He said, fellas, after the Cowboys looked like the best team in the league in the first 2 weeks, and they looked like a team that could miss the playoff last week, who are the real Cowboys?
I don't know. Probably the same Cowboys collectively of the past 2 years under Mike McCarthy. The team that will look good and will beat the Vikings by 50 and then blow a 2-touchdown lead the next week to the Packers. I mean, that's what we did last year. And then we're the team that's going to have every opportunity to beat the 49ers in the playoffs and somehow lose like last year. I mean, they had no business losing that game last year in the playoffs. So that's who we are. We're inconsistently good. We're a good football team that is inconsistent. That's the best way I can put it.
That's pretty good, man. And to quote the great Herman Edwards, they are who we thought they were. I think that's very accurate description you gave. It's whoever you think they are, that's exactly who they are. And you can find reasons to back up, oh no, they're better than this. And you can find reasons, just as equal amount of reasons to back up. No, the Cardinals game, this is who they are. So yeah, I agree with that.
Like if you told me no result this week after what happened last week would surprise me. If the Cowboys come out and win 40-0, I wouldn't be surprised. If they came out and looked terrible again and lost, wouldn't be surprised. And the same thing goes for the 49er game next week.
Mm-hmm.
When we could walk in that game expecting to lose, being a touchdown underdog, and I could see us winning that game on the road. I mean, that's the good and bad thing about being a fan of the Dallas Cowboys for the last however long. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, we've won more than we've lost. So we're inconsistently good. That's where that comes from, because we do win more than we lose. But at the same time, we'll look like, slam dunk Super Bowl winners one week, and the next week we'll look like we're going to be picking first in the draft.
Yeah, we look like we can't even make the college football playoff, much less the NFL playoffs.
And I mean, that's the beauty of it. You got to tune in, and that's part of the reason why I think the Cowboys are the most watched football team every week, because you just never know what you're going to get with them. They're good, but then they stink sometimes too, and then they'll be the best team in the league.
Yeah, it's frustrating for sure.
It's frustrating,
like you said. They're just all the money, that in the past Jerry has spent. I think that's what part of also too is like. It's almost like the Yankees, right? Steinbrenner, you would watch, and old man Steinbrenner would just write the check. Who cares? We're going to win. We're going to make that money back up, and we're going to be fine. Yeah. Jerry used to be that way too. Just write the check, put it on the card, whatever. We'll be fine. We're going to win. We're going to make it back up. And you're like, okay, well, Cowboys still have Jerry Jones. They still have this, even with a salary cap, right? You're thinking, well, there's still money and da-da-da. And it just, you watch every week, because on paper, we've been able to assemble some of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's arguably the best team in the NFL on paper. And you go watch, let's see if this is it, and then all of a sudden you have that game like the Cardinals, and you go, yeah, that makes sense. And so
inconsistently good. It's the only thing I can come up with. We're a good football team that is inconsistent. So thanks for your question, Blake from Nacona. Get your questions, like we said, any way you wish to get them in. So we'll move to the final segment of the podcast here, Week 4 bets. Now, NFL, we both have winning records on the season. I dropped the game last week. Yeah.
Because
NFL is way harder.
Yeah, it's harder. And, I would say, if you and I sat down and said, what do you know more about? It'd be like college.
Oh, college.
I can tell you more about college, this and that, but apparently not, Trey.
Because a lot of times my bandwidth is of course, father 3, so I have stuff with kids and all kind of stuff this year. I mean, every Saturday I've had something. So I got stuff. So this year I haven't got to sit down and watch it. But like if I get to sit down and watch college football all Saturday, I will watch as many games as possible. And I'm just mentally spent on Sunday. Basically, I'm just sitting there on the couch watching, trying to stay awake, taking a nap, getting ready for the Cowboy game, So, we know way more about college.
Yeah.
We know a lot about NFL. Not saying we don't, but that's our jam. Me and you, we're into college football.
Yeah, college. But betting world
somehow we're better, have a better record than NFL. I was 1-2 last week. Jimmy 2-1, and we both are over 500 on the season. I got 3 bets for you this week, and I am going to start with that London game we mentioned earlier. Jaguars and Falcons in London. Now, the Jaguars inexplicably dropped a home game to the Texans of all teams last week, and they did not look good. It was a bit of a blowout. I think the Jaguars, a playoff team from a year ago, they've now lost 2 in a row to the Chiefs at home and to the Texans. I think the Jaguars are better than their record right now. I think it's one of those early season things. They're 1-2. The Falcons are not as good as their record, 2-1. They kind of came back to earth after losing last week. I think the Jaguars by a field goal is not enough. I like the Jaguars. I think they're the better team, and I think they can win at least by a field goal. I'm really going to say they win probably by a touchdown or by 10. So I like the Jacksonville Jaguars -3 over the Falcons.
I agree with that too, man. I think that's also, it's kind of like if the Cowboys ever played, they talked about the game in Mexico City and stuff.
Yeah.
That's like a home game for Dallas because of the Latino, the Hispanic fan base that the Dallas Cowboys have in Mexico. That's the same with this Europe game with the Jaguars. They've been going over there so much that there's so the Falcons aren't going to know, they're not going to be as used to it as the Jaguars are. So I like that bet. I'm going to stay in the AFC, and I'm going to go Ravens and Browns under 40.5. Cleveland already, I said earlier, they were tired of being the third professional team behind the Bengals and Ohio State. They come out, they beat the Bengals. Ravens, everybody knows their history, and if you don't, Ravens used to be the Browns. What did Cleveland have to watch? They had to watch their beloved franchise pack up and move down to Baltimore, and then within 2 years win a Super Bowl with the same dudes that were just Browns a couple years before. So this year, I think the Browns are out to prove something, and this is a game I think that we know what the Browns defense can do. I think this is a game where the Browns defense shows up again, and I think under 40.5. Ravens offense hasn't looked too good. Dobbins is out for the year. Still got questions at running back. And I think the Browns may win this one outright as well, but I'm just going to err on the side of caution and go under 40.5.
Yeah, the Ravens lost to the Colts with Gardner Minshew quarterback last week.
Yep.
Another reason I really like that bet, Jimmy, and another reason I do, because 2 or 3 starting offensive linemen for the Ravens are questionable. They were hurt last week, so their status is up in the air. And the Browns have already Chubb's out, and I think they have an offensive lineman or 2 that's questionable. So some injuries on the offensive side of the ball for both teams, and that means not a lot of points. So I think that's a very good bet. Next one is going to be out of left field, and you're going to be like, what? Are you kidding me? You were just talking up the Miami Dolphins. Yes, I was. I think they're impressive. I think they might be the best team in the AFC, but this is a line play for me. The Bills at home -2.5 hosting the Dolphins. Here's my thinking. Exactly what I just said. And I take everything I just said about the Dolphins, how good they've been, and the Bills, Josh Allen's been a turnover machine. But how are the Bills favored? Why aren't the Dolphins favored?
Yeah.
I think it's because it's a home game, and I think Vegas trying to sneak one by you. So I'm just playing the line here. Usually when a line stinks in a way that you think it should be the opposite of, go the opposite way. Therefore, I mean, we've had this philosophy, and we've heard people talk about it. It doesn't make sense until you've been in it and you've done it, and then it makes perfect sense. I think the Dolphins should be favored. Vegas doesn't miss on NFL. They just don't miss. They have the Bills favored by 2.5. I think it smells funny. Therefore, I'm taking it the other way. It's a better chance that I was wrong initially than Vegas was wrong initially. So therefore, I'm going to say Bills -2.5. That might be confusing unless you bet on football, and then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Bills -2.5.
Bills got a good kicker, man. Bass could boot it through. I could easily see that happening. Tie game, Bass boots it through for the win and the cover. I like it. I'm going under again. Broncos Bears under 46. 46 to me is pretty high considering how just awful these two teams are offensively. Justin Fields. I can't even remember what the Broncos. It's Russell Wilson, but I mean, he hadn't been Russell Wilson since the first half of his last two seasons in Chicago or in Seattle. His last season in Seattle, remember he had like MVP first half of the season and then just disappeared, and he hasn't been found since. So I think this is another one where two bad teams offensively. Heck, the Bears might even be in the Caleb Williams race at this
Both
point.
these
So
teams are.
yeah, I'm like, this
I
is a
think the
big game.
Broncos are ready to move on from Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Sean Payton. I think they're going to side with Sean Payton over Russell Wilson, and I think the under hits in this because I just think neither team's going to be able to offensively move the football. So there we go. Under 46, Broncos Bears.
I agree with you. Think about it. That means each team, for you to lose, each team could somehow score 3 touchdowns apiece and then kick a field goal and be 24-21, and you'd still win that bet. The fact either one of these teams could score 4 touchdowns, I just don't see it. Their offenses are that bad. I mean, that's what it would basically take for you to lose is a 28-21 game or something like that, 28-24 and 27-24. I don't see it. These two offensive have been so bad.
Yeah. So that's what I got, man. I got under.
All right. I got an under for you. My last pick is Bengals Titans under 41. I think Joe Burrow's banged up. Yeah, I think he's hurt. I think he's playing hurt. Offense has not looked great. They didn't look great Monday, but they still won the football game. I just think he's being real gutsy. He's gutting it out. The offense is not in sync. It's hard for him to get the ball to Jamar Chase down the field, and that's their strength. Both teams play really good defense. Bengals defense, Titans defense. Titans also, you stop the run. That's all you got to do in the Titans. Just find a way to stop the run. You really limit their offense. And with Joe Burrow banged up, that offense not in sync. 41's a low number. 6 touchdowns could beat you, but I just don't see him scoring 6 touchdowns. I see this being, at most 2017 game, maybe a 17-14 game. I just don't see a lot of points in this game. So I like the Bengals Titans under 41.
I like it. I mean, I agree. Tennessee's got quarterback issues. And Cincinnati does too. Not the same that Tennessee does, but Cincinnati's got health issues at quarterback. Anytime you got quarterback issues, man, it's hard to score points. So my next one's an under as well. A lot of unders.
Yeah.
Dallas, New England, under 43. I gotta believe our defense is going to show back up. I agree with you. The Patriots don't have anything on offense that scares me. And if you run the ball with Zeke a whole lot, okay, just keep the clock moving. I don't care. I'm betting the under. So we know what our red zone offense is, and the way you beat the unders to score points. Well, Trey, we can't score points in the red zone. So
True.
I'll take Brandon Aubrey kicking 5 field goals every game.
Yep.
So give me the under in Dallas, New England.
Let me tell you something that's going to help you feel better about this bet. Last week I took Cowboys Cardinals under 43, right? And it felt like the Cardinals were scoring left and right. And the number was 43 last week. And the number ended up being like what, 45 or 46? What was it, 28-16? So it's 44. It lost by 1 point. All that scoring. And it's hard for me to imagine that we play worse on defense than we did last week.
Right.
And so it was 44 last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you win that bet. I think it's a winner.
I like it.
All right, recap. I got the Jaguars -3, the Bills -2.5, Bengals Titans under 41. Jimmy has Ravens Browns under 40.5, Broncos Bears under 46, Cowboys Patriots under 43. That's our
and Jimmy also has one more.
Oh, you got a fourth one? Okay.
I got a fourth one, man. Pittsburgh and the Texans under 42.5. I think Texans outplayed themselves last week, beating the Jaguars. And I think Pittsburgh, dude, Kenny Pickett does not look good. And I think this is another under. Pittsburgh, Houston under 42.5.
Jimmy going with a 4-pack of unders this week.
Yep. Come from a land down under.
I like it. So I add that Steelers Texans under 42.5 to Jimmy's card. Another one in the books. Cowboys. This is a huge game. Bounce back week for the Cowboys. Got to have it. Patriots at home. Got to take care of business at home, especially the schedule gets significantly tougher starting next week. We play at the 49ers, and then I think it's the Chargers.
At the Chargers, yeah.
Really need this one. Like I said, this can change the narrative of your season either way. You can either be 2-2, hitting the panic button, or back on track at 3-1 with the huge opportunity next week. So the stinker last week made this week such a big game.
Yeah, I think this is as close to a must-win game. I'll even call it a must-win, and it's not even a division game because everything you just said. This, I think, has the potential to derail the season. Everybody say, well, it's one game and it's not a division game and da-da-da. But when a team starts panicking, all of a sudden everyone just, everyone starts looking out for themselves. NFL's a business. You got guys now, all of a sudden we got guys not really trying to, well, I'm not going to go the extra mile because, man, why? The season's done. I need to start looking out for me and da-da-da. And you can say, oh, now they don't do that. And I'm like, okay, you go really start reading into it. You'll find out those guys, I don't blame them. They're only healthy. They only play football for such a short amount of time. So, yeah, I get when they get kind of the me mentality. And when you start panicking and thinking your season's over, that's first place you go to. So I think this is a must-win game and not even in the same conference. Not a division game.
Not
nothing.
Even, yeah.
But we have got to win this game to get back on track. 49ers, I don't think the 49ers, even before the loss, beginning of the season, I'm going, 49ers isn't a must-win game. That's the measuring stick game.
Right.
That's
I agree.
How good are we? If we lose a close one, we go, baby, we're right there.
Yep.
We get blown out, we go, still got a bunch of work to do. And if we win, it's like, holy crap, we won. And we're better than we thought. But this New England game now has become a must-win for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens when you lose to maybe the second worst team in the NFC. Can't do that. So big game for the Cowboys on Sunday, 3:25, hosting the Patriots. Don't forget to join myself and Jimmy for the Gridiron Grind live post-game show immediately following the game. We will actually be on site this week. We'll be at a buddy's house watching the game together, and then we're going to do the post-game show live from location. So make sure you tune in immediately after the game on our YouTube channel for the Gridiron Grind live Dallas Cowboys post-game show this Sunday. Also check out our college football podcast. It came out yesterday on Wednesday. It comes out every Wednesday on Apple Podcasts and our YouTube channel. And then this Cowboys and NFL podcast every Thursday on our YouTube channel and Apple Podcasts. Also be sure to subscribe, like, comment, subscribe. Check out our website, gridirongrindsports.com. We have blogs coming up all the time. Jimmy G's Big Three comes out. His 3 best college bets for the week come out on Wednesday. And then My Coffee with Creta comes out every Saturday morning. Thanks for listening to the show this week. We'll see you on Sunday for the post-game show. Need a big one this week, Jimmy. Got to have them Cowboys win.
Got to be a win, man. Must win. Must win.
Thanks for listening to the show. Oh, sorry.
I said I like our chances.
I do too. I'm predicting a win. I think we bounce back. And we win comfortably. Maybe it's the optimism in me, but
love it.
13-point win, I'm saying. That's what I'm going to go with. So
thank you.
Anyway, Creta 3, Jimmy G, thanks for listening to the show. We'll see you next week. Be sure to join us on Sunday for the live postgame show right after the Cowboys play the Patriots. See you next week.
See you.